my line. Paul from WABC. What's your gripe, Paul?
Savage, I'd like to wish you a happy Purim. And I noticed that today...
Can you do me a favor? Stop. You're calling to complain now. You're making believe you're calling. But go on, please.
No, I'm just going to wish you a happy Purim, and I know it's very easy to get a hold of you because because not a lot of Orthodox Jews are listening. So I want to wish you a happy Purim, and I would like you to come to my house for Shabbat because...
Can you stop with this personal garbage already? Stop it. I don't know you from a hole in a wall. So what are you calling about?
What purpose is your life other than to argue that politics is boring and this is that? Just come and find Judaism. You're searching...
Will you stop already with the Purim already? I'm not 4 years old with a hat on my head eating sweets. Stop with the old holidays that have no meaning. You got a Haman in the White House and you're talking about King Haman like a fool. Why don't the Orthodox Jews wake up already to the real Haman in the White House?
Scream and yell and scream and yell.
Why are you celebrating the overthrow of someone in Persia 1,000 years ago? What does that do for you?
Because the Jews were able to... What does that do for us? Because the Jews were able to survive and live again and do mitzvahs, which makes the world a better place, Dr.
Really? And what's going on now? What are the Jews doing today?
God in this world. You always say, Dr. Savage, that there's God...
No, you're not answering me. You're living in the past. You're living in a fable. You're living in a fantasy like you're 4 years old. What is the point of getting drunk on Purim? What are you celebrating?
We're celebrating that we survived so we could be able to serve God with enjoyment.
Oh, wonderful. I'm glad you're serving God. Then why don't you serve God with the truth? And why don't you work to overthrow King Haman in the White House?
Because we try. People try. What can we do to overthrow King Haman in the White House, Dr. Savage?
Well, how about talking about it? How about talking about how abusive he is and how he is the worst friend of Israel in the history of the presidency? Why did you support him?
I don't support him. I can't stand him. I support Donald Trump. What does that mean, support him? I don't know who. Very few people support him. Very few Orthodox Jews support him. I don't know about George Soros and the liberal leftists.
Oh, all right. Oh, good. You're making a clear defining line. I forced you to think today instead of getting drunk on mushka and dancing like a 4-year-old and then eating sweets and going into a diabetic coma. So I did a mitzvah for you.
When you sit and you hide with your dog all day, stop it already. You're not going to do anything. The reason why we celebrate Purim is because it's a naif that happened to the Jewish people, and that
it's nonsense to live in the past. That's my opinion. Live in the present better. You'll do better in life. Celebrate something about today instead of yesterday, and please don't make the Holocaust your whole existence. See, this is my problem with the whole Jewish thing, is that you define the religion today by events that occurred so long ago that have no meaning. You talk, for example, at Passover about how Jews were slaves in Egypt, right? Why don't you talk about the slaves right now in the Middle East who are being enslaved by Muslims? Maybe that would be something that the liberals ought to put into their Haggadah. How this president enables the kidnapping and enslavement of Yazidis and non-Muslims in the Middle East. Then I would say the religion has some relevance today. Otherwise, it's just an ossification of no meaning whatsoever. That's why so many young people are running away from it. They want meaning. They want presence. They want knowledge. It doesn't mean the religion has to be defined by the past, does it?
Religion doesn't have to be defined by the past. Religion definitely has to be defined by the past. What would it be without our forefathers? I'm sorry. You're saying that religion has to be defined by the past. Should not be defined by the past. Of course it should be defined by the past. How else would we be able to look back at what the greatness of what our forefathers did and accomplished?
Yeah, but if you keep looking back, how are you going to move forward?
If everything's about the present, Dr. Savage, then what is your life? You have no life. You don't look to your forefathers. You basically don't believe there's anything to celebrate about the past. So your whole life is San Francisco.
Well, I don't believe in marching around talking about King Haman being overthrown and eating rotten candy and drinking cheap vodka with a bunch of people dancing about the past. No, I don't. Now, if that gives you meaning, God bless you. We live in a crazy country, so if you want to keep dancing and holding hands and going in circles and dancing about King Haman, I'm not going to say anything about it, but I think you're being foolish. Talk about King Haman in the White House abusing America today and abusing the world today. Then I would say the religion has some meaning right now. Thank you for the call. I'll be right back.